then there is debriefing. Now, one of the things I'm saying to the New South Wales principals I'm coaching is nobody should be observing in classrooms unless they can be very explicit about the practices they are looking at and what their standard of good practice is, and that has been communicated and discussed during the professional learning.
Do you think if there are surprises around teacher observations, that undermines relational trust? I mean, you talk extensively about that. Is that one of the things that we're trying to maintain by being really clear with what our expectations are?
The surprise observations. I mean, there are times when surprise observations have a place, but people need to know that there are going to be surprises and
Yes.
why.
Yes.
Okay. So sometimes I've had contexts where surprises need to happen because a particular group of teachers or teachers are practicing one way when the leader is present and differently when the leader is not present. So the observations are triggering some different practices which are not sustained when the leader's not present. Now, the surprises needs to be discussed. As that becomes the reason for surprise visits and having discussed whether or not that is happening and why. So the compliance thing is, I don't know whether New South Wales leaders do this, but sometimes, certainly in the United States, there are mandates from district officers about how often principals need to go to into classrooms. So the principal rocks up into the classroom and says, I have to do this and report on to the superintendent about this 3 times a term. So, now that's a compliance reason.
That's ticking boxes.
Yeah. As opposed to what the example I've been given, which is I'm here because we've agreed the writing results are disappointing. We've even talked about the fact you're not confident teaching about writing. So I want to come in sufficiently so we can get an agreed account of how you're currently teaching it and why not. And then we'll move on to doing something about it when we know the causes of the current writing difficulties.
Viviane, it would be amiss of me not to ask while you're here, how do we know if we're being successful? So there's a whole conversation around the evidence that we collect and assessments. What are some of the things that you think we should be looking at when we believe we've identified an issue, say, for example, in writing? Should we be collecting work samples? What should that look like to get a cohesive idea of what's going on?
Well, you in the 4th stage of my problem-solving model, which is called collaborative complex problem solving, and I've written extensively about it in my latest book, Virtuous Educational Leadership. In that stage is about implementing a new strategy, implementing a new way of teaching writing. And at that stage, you actually have to identify indicators of progress. So those indicators of progress are, let's say that the facilitator has said there has to be so much, and you've agreed on the timetable, so much time spent explicitly teaching writing, and that involves teaching relevant vocabulary, and it involves teaching the structure of a paragraph, let's say.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are your 3 indicators. So your measurement, if you're clear about what needs to be implemented, your measurement in terms of are the adults implementing the strategy, your measurement problem is solved, because you know that you need to check somehow on the time being spent. You need to check on the paragraph writing, and then of course you pick up the student's work.
Right. And I think it comes back to what you're saying before. There needs to be an agreed set of standards. This is what we're looking for. We've agreed that this is what we're looking for.
Yes.
And this is what good practice is. There should be no surprises.